Hi, my name's Tyke and welcome back to another video. A couple weeks ago, you guys voted that you wanted me to do a Vita Collection video, and the last Vita Collection video I have on here, there were like over 100 games. Unfortunately, now it's down to a whopping nine Vita games. So I definitely shrunk my collection, but I do have the Vita Slim, which is upside down, which is my main Vita at the moment, and I really like playing it. It's really great. It has an LCD screen. It's from 2015. It's Japanese, which just means that instead of the X button working for you to select every yes on the menu, it's the circle button, because X means close and circle means open. So that's pretty cool. It was confusing at first, but it was my first ever PlayStation Vita, and I love it. I'm currently playing through Foul Play, which was a recommendation by TigerChainsaw, who I'll link below. One of his videos that I really enjoyed and wanted to play it. But on this, and one of the cool things about the Vita is a lot of the games are crossplay with the PlayStation 4, and that's pretty awesome. So this is my main Vita, and then of course I have the OG like LCD Vita, which is which is a thicker boy. So this is slim. This also has like its own particular charging port, and it's kind of annoying. So it's not charged. It usually just sits on a shelf and displays, but it doesn't work when I charge it. It's a bit slower than this because this is a higher processing power, but this is a classic and has a great screen. I once had my friend compare the two of them, and like the looks on this are so much better than this, but they both play the same. I played a little bit of Gravity Rush on this, and I played Gravity Rush on this. I just like this one better because I can charge it with like a micro USB, and it's a lot easier to have a micro USB hooked up to my desk at all times than it is for me to have the like Vita peripheral, which was one of the negatives of this Vita. The other negative is, of course, the Vita memory cards. This one has a 16 gigabyte memory card in it, if I recall, and this one has an 8 gigabyte memory card in it, if I recall. Since the Vita has to have like proprietary memory cards, they're a bit costly. So like the 16 gigabyte one, I think cost me like $60 when I got it, and that was like 2 years ago, and now it's upwards of like $100. Vita's collecting is expensive, which is why I kind of got away from it and shrunk down to the games that I actually kind of wanted. So let's get into that. Starting off, we have this game that I picked up recently, which is one of the Steins Gate games released for the Vita. It is a Japanese Vita game, so it's rated B by Serio. And I don't know much about it. I literally picked this up about 2 days ago when I picked up some other games, which I'll get into a little bit in another video. Yeah, but I really like the Steins Gate. I like the original Steins Gate anime, so I'm looking forward to playing this when I get a chance to. I'm hoping that I can translate it to English, or else I'm going to be really confused. And if I can't translate it to English, it's just going to like sit on the shelf. And unfortunately, it did come with like a little manual slip, but nothing too crazy. Next up, we have my first limited run game, which is Alone with You. It is sealed. It's the first game I ever got. I do plan to play it at some point. I just like keeping it sealed for the memories because I kind of, when I like had Vita when I had like my Vita collection, I didn't want to open everything. And this game was special to me, so I've just kept it sealed. I could always get it on like Steam and play it on my PC, but then why do I have it for the Vita if I'm not going to play it on the Vita? Because I'm not like anti-sealed, but I do have some sealed games. Not because I don't want to play them, but because it's just like a memory thing. Next up, I have SpongeBob Squarepants Hero Pants, which is based on the second SpongeBob movie, where they're all like superheroes. And apparently it's not a very good game, but it is PlayStation TV compatible, which is cool. The other two games were not. And PlayStation TV is like a little peripheral device that is like a PlayStation Vita that has an HDMI port that you can put in your TV, but those are costly. Those are like $150, and only certain Vita games work on them, but you can like Bluetooth connect your DualShock 4 controller or your DualShock 3 controller to actually like play the game on a TV. So some people that like want to stream Vita games, like straight Vita games, will get a like PlayStation TV to then emulate the Vita games or to then run the Vita games on their computer so that they can stream them, which I thought was pretty cool. And I thought about getting into that, but then I was like, no. Next up is V11 Hall A or Valhalla, which I bought this. I bought this because I thought the game sounded cool and it looked cool, and I had to open it. I didn't want to open it, but it has like a dual-sided cover art, and I just don't like this cover art. But I like that cover art better, so I opened it to change it. I haven't played it on the Vita as much, but I have played it on the Switch. I have it digitally on the Switch because I didn't want to like ruin my Vita cartridge. But that's the joy of being a gamer. Sometimes you buy the same game twice for a different platform, but you use a little bit more. Um, but the game is pretty much you're a bartender at a cyberpunk bar called Valhalla. You are Emmy, the main character in the game, who works at the bar, and then you pretty much just go through like your daily life of work. And you work at the bar. You meet strange customers. You mix them certain drinks, and it's pretty fun. At least for the 2 hours I played it. And then you go back to your apartment. And you hang out with your cat. Good time. Highly recommend. I recommend getting it digitally though because it's upwards of like $75 on Switch and Vita because I think it was released by limited run for the Switch as well. I don't know. Drive Girls is up next. Drive Girls also PlayStation TV compatible. This game is weird. So the purpose of this game, which is Drive Girls, is you pretty much all of these girls are like transformers. They transform into automobiles, and then you can drive the automobiles into different battles, and then they morph into like the human form to participate in the battles, and then you also race as part of it on like a highway setting. I played about 20 minutes of this and was like, I don't understand what this is. It's like Transformers, but with teens. Or like anime girls. So I'll have to give it more of a shot later. But I did like it when I played it. I've kept it around because I thought it was strange. One of the only games for the Vita I completed up next is Hyperdimension Neptunia U Action Unleashed. So this game is part of the Hyperdimension Neptunia series, which itself takes like the console wars between the Wii, the Xbox 360, and the PlayStation 3, and turns them into like a game format. So that was like their first game. Then they released a bunch of spin-offs on the Vita. So they initially came out for the PlayStation 3. This was one of their Vita games, and the reason it has like the U in the title and it's stylized like the Wii U U is because they were making a pun on how like things on the Wii U were named like Super Mario U, New Super Luigi U, Pokemon Rumble U, like Tekken for the Wii U. So yeah, that was a joke. I did beat this game. It is an action RPG in which you just kind of like play through all the different characters from the first and second game, and then two random side characters that are in this game, and you like level them up to a different level, or you level them up to level 100, and then at one point you get to go like do a tower, and that's kind of where I'm at. I tried to 100% this game. I'm like 70%. I know I'm like 80% done. And what I have to do is go like in the tower and level up certain ranks between each character. But I have to do that for each character. So it's like pretty grindy at the moment to finish it. And I do want to do it at some point. It's just not feasible at the moment when I want to play other games. But it's a good time for me to just like sit and just play a game that like I don't have to think about. The story was a bit nonsensical, but Hyperdimension Neptunia is not the most sensible story. So next up is Epic Mickey 2: The Power of Two. So initially, I got this game because I thought it was part of the North American releases because this was pretty much released on everything. I then learned at a later point that actually it is not. It is technically from Mexico. So I made my brother get this, not realizing that it wasn't necessary to my collection at all, and it was one of the rare games in my collection. I think when I got it, it was worth $150. Now it's worth $75. And this game isn't very good, and it's on everything. But this is one of like the rarer versions of the game, and it ran pretty well from what I could tell. I liked it. When I first got it, I didn't realize I could change the language settings until I later on played it on PC. Because when I got the game, it was in Spanish because it was from Mexico, and I like tried to play it, and so I like turn it on. I go to the main menu. I go into like the game file, and then they start singing in Spanish, and I was like, I texted my brother who bought this for me as like a birthday present. I was like, dude, I can't play this game. It's in Spanish. But one of the cool things, it came with these like two cards. Came with this like cyberpunk Mickey Mouse, and then this random Mickey Mouse, which I think is pretty cool. I don't think these were included initially in the game case, but I don't know. Most of the video games don't really have manuals. So, game to switch. Next up is Gravity Rush, one of the staple Vita games. It uses the Vita has like a touchpad on the back, which you can kind of see here. You can kind of see like in between these things, this is like a touchpad, and it kind of uses everything on the Vita to be like the perfect Vita game. It was later released on the PlayStation 4 as Gravity Rush Remastered, and its sequel is on the PlayStation 4 as well. But Gravity Rush is a fun time. I have it physically, I have it digitally on the Vita, and then I have Gravity Rush Remastered digitally on the PlayStation 4, just because I didn't know if I wanted to play it on the Vita, then go like play it on the PlayStation 4, or I could just play it on the PlayStation 4 and then play Gravity Rush 2 as well. But fun game, good time, highly recommend. It takes mechanics and like it uses gravity to like a whole new extreme degree, and I would recommend if you ever think about picking up a Vita to get a copy of Gravity Rush. Highly recommended, along with things like Persona 4 Golden and other games. Next up is the first game I ever got for the Vita, and the sole reason I got the Vita. It's in Gecki Bunko fighting Climax. So this is a game that takes a bunch of random anime characters and puts them in a fighting game against each other. And one of my favorite animes is A Certain Scientific Railgun, and that's Misako Makoto, who is the main character of Railgun, and she's in this game. And I was like, ooh, I want to play a game with like one of my favorite anime characters. So there's this version, and then there's like an enhanced version that was released only in Japan and also on the PlayStation 3. They didn't release it on the PlayStation 3 in the US. We only have this one. It's a fun time. You have like 20 different characters you can play as. You can play as Asuna from Sword Art Online. You can play as a bunch of the people from Excel World. Not really, kind of like a niche anime audience, but like those who know about the characters in this game, like know about the characters in this game, and like this is a good fighting game, at least for a handheld fighting game. I recommend it, and I like it. And yeah, so that is my entire Vita collection. Of course, I do have some digital games that are on my Vita, but I'm not going to get more into those. This is more of a physical collection video. If you like the video and you have any questions, feel free to comment them below. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And have a great day. I've been Tyke.